Hey, y'all. Welcome to Dadhouse, the only podcast about at-home dads and fatherhood. That's it. We're the only ones. So you're done searching. Lock it in. Rip the knob off. Okay, I'm totally kidding. There's lots of great dad podcasts out there. Totally kidding. Dads, fathers, parenting, all that jazz. But we thank you very much for giving us a listen. All right. Anyway, the gang's all here. I'm Mike Bowling. I've got Larry and Mick and Shannon and Jake all with me. And we appreciate you guys all giving us a listen once again. Anyways, how's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Mick's having technical issues. He can hear us, right?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, man.
Your background intro music is loud.
Oh, was it? Okay. Well, we'll fix it in post, as they say.
That's why I started to scream, and I thought maybe my volume was up.
It's got some funk to it, so I like it.
It does have funk to it, baby. Yeah.
I feel like the Muppets played this song.
Oh, gosh. Speaking of the Muppets, I saw a clip the other day of somebody that had added the original Muppet Show theme song from, back in the 80s to the end of Dirty Dancing with the big dance scene.
I saw that.
Oh my God. It was hilarious. Oh my gosh. See, I have to find that and we'll add it in the show notes or something like that. Anyways. Coming up on today's show, we're going to chat about our man weekend at the barn. Once again was amazing. We'll have our DadCon Dadvice, but dealing with something that all new dads are just going to have to deal with. All right. And then we'll also have our interview with Sam Mellinger, formerly of the Kansas City Star, and now is the vice president of the communication with the Royals, who is the dad of 3 boys. And that is, 2 boys. Thank you, Mick. Thank you for the correction. You know what? There is one thing that all of us have, both of, we have one of each flavor, at least one of each flavor, as they say, which is, I think it's different. Do you think that you father differently if you are the parent of, like, say, all of one gender as compared to mixed genders?
I think you would have to, because so many of the things we do are nuanced by what gender they're going towards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
anybody else?
I'd agree. Definitely father different. Yep. I parent different with the girls than I do the boys.
Yeah. Do you think that your outlook on parenting changes based off of how you, like, if you have just say all girls or all boys or mixed? I mean, do you think that that's
I don't know that your outlook necessarily changes. I just don't think you have the other outlook. I don't think you have the, like, if you just have girls, you don't know what that's like to have boys. I mean, I don't think it changes how you parent necessarily. It just changes your perception on what other parents deal with.
I know for one, at least for me, so we had Ella first. And once we found out that we were going to have a boy, because we didn't find out with Ella on what sex she was, but we wanted to find out with Sam because basically we needed to know if we needed more clothes. If we needed boy clothes, because we had a whole bunch of girl clothes, of course, but we really didn't want to have to hound those down to her. I mean, obviously we had some, plenty of generic, like, baby, onesies and all that kind of stuff back in the day. But so we found out with him, but then once we had both sets of clothes, then we didn't find out with Audra. It always seems like that's one of the last great surprises at the end of the day, that is it a boy or a girl? That's why I am absolutely against gender reveal parties, by the way. That is like one of the banes of my existence are gender reveals parties. And those kind of came on, I think, near the end of us all having, children.
God.
Or at least the popularity of it. Shannon, do you have any opinions on that?
I want to disagree with all of you just to create drama, but I can't. I don't think it matters. I think one way or another you're getting naked time. It's going to be a year of no pants for somebody, boy or girl, it doesn't matter. So there's part of me that, but I think it does change, at least in the beginning, how you parent. I think the biggest thing from becoming was this idea of how I would parent, of how I would do it. I would be stoic and I would be this manly man and masculine. And then you have a kid and they wreck you emotionally and mentally, and then it changes. So yeah, it happened for both boys and girls. So, but I do think it's different. Yeah.
Well, anyways, that was total tangent there. Sorry about that. so I don't know, just something that just kind of happened to pop in my brain while I was thinking about it. All right. So every episode we're doing this like intro challenge kind of thing to help, introduce and make it, get everybody familiar with us. So the intro challenge today is, introduce yourself and of course anything else you want to promote, whatever. And one house chore that you absolutely hate, cannot stand to do. And I will start. My name is Mike Bowling, video professional, live event professional, camera guy, all this kind of stuff. Also do work for the Royals as well. And as soon as we get done with this little shindig of recording, I'm going to go upstairs and clean out our shower drain because it is not draining whatsoever. So I get to do, I have to go do the, I've got the little gripper thing that'll go inside there, pulls out the nasty blob of hair that's like sometimes the size of, golf ball, the 3 or 4 of them, pull all that out and take care of that. And it reeks and smells and all that fun stuff. So that's what I get to do after this. So I thought, that's a good idea. That's a good topic for us to to introduce ourselves on. So, all right, Larry, what's your plan?
So I see the trend here, Mike. You have a problem, and so you want to talk about your problem, and you put us all on the spot on figuring something.
What? No.
That is a really good one. I can't stand cleaning those drains out, but on a day-to-day basis, I think just laundry, just in general, just doing laundry, putting laundry in, taking laundry, switching laundry, folding laundry, putting laundry away. It's just such a pain in the butt. So I don't have anything
I'd go with folding the laundry.
Yeah, folding the laundry. Lots of people don't actually fold the laundry. They just leave it clean in the basket and pull it out of the basket, i.e. my kids.
Yep, Sam too.
How about you, Mick?
Mine is not as much of a chore as it is just an everyday occurrence. So I don't mind cooking at all, but I hate deciding what the meal will be because I've got, there's 5 people in the family. We have 5 people that like different things, couple of fairly picky eaters. So as much as I like to try new things and experiment, then you worry, okay, what if that goes wrong? Or, maybe I didn't, because I don't do a pre-made list I know some people do, some people on this call, they plan out their entire menu for the week. I don't do that. I really very much fly by the seat of my pants. So that's sometimes just the decision, just making the decision of what will please the most people is sometimes stressful. Who's next? I forgot to look at the agenda. Shannon,
it's Jake.
Jake.
Okay, Jake. I make artisanal toothpicks, and I'm gonna go with I hate making the bed. Not like the daily making, but the you've washed your sheets and have to remake the bed from scratch because we always forget, and then it's bedtime and I want to go to bed, and instead I have to make the bed, and that always irritates me. So, Shannon, you're last.
I'm always last. I'm the anchor.
Yes, you're also least.
Go. Oh. I'm going to promote my book. No, I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to promote Ask a Dad for the podcast and to remind everyone that we have a blog now that contains all writings and thoughts that we're growing. And it's basically just me writing because they don't write.
Yes, it is.
But it's reposted and stuff like that.
No.
But Ask a Dad is on there too. It's going to be on there anyway by the time this comes out. So go check out. I hate the Wookiee pull, as we call it in our house, which is what Mike is doing. And pull the Wookiee out of the drain. But honestly, I hate toilets.
I'd get scared if mine actually talked like a Wookiee when I
someone's screaming when I do it. I don't know who it is. It may be the hair blob that gains sentience. No, I hate cleaning the toilet. And I'll tell you why. Not always. It's because I'm older now and my back hurts. And when I lean down, for some reason, I lock my back in to clean the toilet, and then it takes me a second to get straight, and it makes me feel old as hell. I don't like it. So there you go. I don't like getting old. That's my chore. The chore I don't like is getting old.
Amen to that. I was looking at pictures the other day and saw, I don't know, it's like one of our early play groups, and none of us had gray hair in our beards, or for those of us that had beards, some of us had more gray hair, and other people just had, we lost Shannon. And some of us have had more hair than we do now, unfortunately. So, yeah, anyway. Sorry, excuse me. I'm also dealing with a cold, which is no fun, or at least what seems to be coming on. Although part of it might have been screaming from after the Chiefs game was over, which was fun. Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. By the time this comes out, Super Bowl may be over. Hopefully it's actually before then, but we shall see. Hey, Shannon, welcome back. You disappeared.
Button.
You accidentally kicked yourself out?
I did. I meant to push the mic mute button because I thought my dog was about to bark, and I just apparently kicked myself out. That's the morning I'm having.
Oh, fun stuff. Okay, so something, if you haven't noticed, something new that we're doing here on the old podcast is we are adding YouTube to our repertoire of social media. Actually, we haven't actually quite set it up. It's coming up though, but hopefully it should be Dadhouse Pod. We'll by the time you watch this, it'll already be set up, so we'll have that figured out by then.
Don't make promises because y'all put me in charge of setting it up.
We did?
Yes, I did.
Oh crap! Now we're in trouble for sure. Damn it! Whoops! I guess we shouldn't have done that.
Hey, he'll get it done.
Okay.
It'll be weird, but it'll get done.
So you're getting the least techiest person of the group to set up a YouTube account.
Absolutely,
man, it's all about what we have time. Yeah,
it's okay. We watched it. We watched a video. We sat down. We ordered pizza. We did. Because I got to start at the beginning. So this is why we sat. So we get this little digital marketing, advertisement and Shannon about, through the Greater Kansas City marketing groups and blah 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 whatever. And he's like, "Hey, there's a thing about how to like grow a YouTube channel. You've been talking about wanting to get on YouTube. Let's go to this webinar." Okay. So he's like, "Let's come over." And he goes, "I'll send you a link." I said, "No, let me come into your house. Let's watch it together so we can bounce ideas back and forth and we can, collaborate and discuss." And he's like, "Okay, great. Come on over. I'll order pizza." Fine. So I go over there a couple days ago, get in, and we're getting ready to sit down, and he doesn't grab the link because he didn't sign up. So, and Shannon, typical Shannon, he didn't read the directions, just like when we're in Kentucky and the museums are all closed because we didn't read the website. So, but we still got pizza, and we just did some YouTube searches for, how to build YouTube channels, and it was good, and hopefully that will all come to fruition in the next week.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, I hope you all, if you're watching this, we hope you enjoy it and appreciate it. And as always, yeah, I hear you, Jake. Jake, who spends probably the most amount of time on YouTube out of the five of us.
You should be the one setting this up.
No, I'm a consumer, not a creator.
He's an ADHD.
Are you?
That's what he is.
Jake, are you an influencer?
No.
Right.
No, that's a dirty word, man. No, thank you.
Influencer or content creator? How about that?
I'm not a content creator. I have a production company.
You're an artist, right?
Well, your company
really
rolls on your company. It's my art. It's my art, Dad. Leave me alone. Jeez. All right, so weekend before last, we had one of our favorite weekends of the year, which is Man Weekend up at the barn up in North Missouri. If you were following us on social media, on Instagram, we did a couple of Instagram lives. I'm getting ahead of myself, but before that, we went up and made a stop off at a brewery that Mick had found. And you can always have a good time at a good brewery, right, Mick?
I agree.
So tell us about this brewery you found.
It's the name of it is Levi Garrison and Sons. It's in a little town of Hamilton, Missouri. It's about 15 minutes off of I-35 as you're heading north out of Kansas City. So real quick, easy pit stop for anybody who's traveling that I-35 corridor between Des Moines and Kansas City. And it's just the town is so small. It's like 1,100 people in the town. I'd never been there. But the town is so small. I was a little
Hamilton, Missouri, isn't it?
Yeah, Hamilton, Missouri. Town is so small. I was really kind of leery about stopping there because I'd never been there or anything, and you just wouldn't think that a brewery of any substance would, be able to thrive or even survive in a town of 1,100 people. But it was great. The inside of the place was decorated really well, and everyone was like super friendly, and they gave us a tour, just because they had time, and we were asking a couple questions, and the beer was really, he had some really, really fantastic beers. Some of our pickier beer drinkers bought a couple growlers to take home and share with friends. And it was just all in all, it was a great time. So highly recommend Levi Garrison and Sons in Hamilton, Missouri.
Yeah, the people in there, what was it? The I guess you would call it the owner. I mean, brewmaster, so to speak. I mean,
both.
It was great. Yeah, he was great. Gave us a nice little tour there. And the bartender was also good too. He opened it up a little early for us to come in because we'd gotten there 10 minutes early.
10 minutes earlier, standing on the side of the street. And he's like, "Oh, come in! I'm just cleaning out the tap lines."
It's funny when you walk by, you didn't imagine that there was a brewery inside, but it was just a nice vibe inside of that place. I mean, we posted pictures on our Instagram if you want to go back and look at it. Very cool place. It was a lot of fun. And then headed on up the road to up to the barn and had a great time. It's nice. It used to be when we did main weekend, it was like we would get there 6 or 7 o'clock in the evening to the old Stockton house outside of Stockton Lake. And then we would go until late in the night. And then now we're getting up to the barn because of the fact that we don't have to worry about getting our kids home from school. We've got rides and all that stuff. So now we can leave at meeting at Mick's house 10:30 in the morning on Friday and still almost have a whole other half day to enjoy up at the barn, which is great.
We could have left earlier, but Shannon was so late getting there.
I beat Mark. I was there. You said 10:30, and I was there exactly at 10:30.
He beat the guy that had to drive 5 hours.
Yeah,
I beat him by a good 5 minutes too.
Yeah, congratulations there.
Look, if you want me there earlier, say earlier. I was there at 10:30.
So from now on, we tell Shannon a half an hour before we really want him anywhere.
All right. So why is the barn weekend important, guys? Start with you, Jake.
No.
Yes.
It's time to build relationships and reinforce our friendship outside of the time with children and wives. Did I read that right?
Good job.
Now do it with enthusiasm.
It's time to build relationships and
Larry, what do you like the most about barn weekend?
I think just being away. I mean, I don't know, just hanging out with you guys and not having to worry about doing anything else.
That's it. Zero responsibility, man. That is a big deal to me when I go there. I go there and just exist in whatever form that I choose to exist. I got there, and within an hour, I was in my PJs and my sweatpants and all that, and I was done. And
asleep.
Yeah,
I was. I slept a lot too this time.
You were.
I don't even care.
How about this? Do you think that barn weekend means differently to us now with older kids than it did back then when we first started doing it? Does it have a different weight to it, so to speak, back then? Because then it was just oh my gosh, we had all the kids at home, constantly taking care of them all the time. Now all of our kids are all at school, and we get a little bit more downtime. Not downtime, but I mean, the responsibilities are different. So do you feel like there's a difference between when we first did it and now?
Well, 100% there is. I think before it was there was a lot of stress and pressure, I think, when the kids were younger, and you never stop moving when they're toddlers, ever. Now we do get a chance to kind of stop, but the issues that we're facing, I think, are deeper. So before it was almost like a physical break, Now what I've noticed the last several years, it's not only a mental break, but it's a chance to get into some of those issues we're facing with teenagers deeper than we can other times. Because the things we have to talk about now are more complicated than potty training. And if you're going through potty training, you're like, nothing's more complicated. There is. It's stuff.
That's true. That's true. Mick, what about for you, man?
I'm going to disagree with Shannon slightly. I think...
Oh, surprise.
I think it is actually probably a little bit more important now than it was before. Yes, 100% agree. When you're, in the middle of the younger years, you need physical breaks. But now all of us have got teenagers, and we're just so, all of us have very active kids that are just going here and going there. And like Shannon just said, the stuff that we have to talk about is a lot more in depth of, what's your best potty training tip. So it takes longer. Yes. Do we get together, 3 to 4 times a month, for breakfast? Yes. But we're on a schedule there too. We can't just sit down and have the unencumbered conversations that build deep relationships. And that is what the barn weekend gives us. And my favorite thing about the barn weekend is that I get 2 nights of uninterrupted sleep from not having a cat walk on me and whack me in the face.
Next year, I'll come in and just smack you. I'll make you feel at home.
Just start one of the slapping contests that are apparently all the rage now. No.
Yeah, we are.
No,
tortillas, apparently.
Hang on. I'm going to bring this back around here a little bit. So, to me, it's equally as important then as it is now. Okay. But then we spent a lot more time talking about the kids and over multiple issues and multiple topics. And now we spend some time talking about the kids, and we may dive into a topic or two here or there, but we spend a lot more time just intermingling and talking about us than we did 5 years ago. How we are doing, or what we have going on versus what our kids have going on. So now it's more of a support for us personally than it was for support for us through our kids. That's how I view it.
Yeah.
Larry, that's a really good way to put it, because it's almost like we're reinserting ourselves back into our lives a little bit, which sounds weird that, the problem now is us.
Well,
that's what it comes down to from
yes,
Larry.
it's true. It is taking back ownership of what you're doing instead of you are the caretaker, right? You're redefining yourself.
Yeah.
Larry, you did a much better job of saying what I was trying to say. So,
and as always, Larry just brings it right back to us. Yeah, right back to succinctly right to it. That's good.
Yep. Larry doesn't like tangents.
That is not true.
Oh, we can go on tangents. That's for damn sure. Absolutely. All right. So moving on from Barn Weekend, unless anybody else had anything to say about Barn Weekend. Moving on. So the last episode before this one came out was about Valentine's Day that Mick and Shannon did an interview with Jen Mann, just talking about Valentine's Day. And we didn't have that as a kind of a group discussion, of course. But Shannon, what kind of topics did you guys hit on there? Or just kind of recap it a little bit if you can.
Well, according to my editor, it is swearing.
We do need there will be an explicit tag on that episode.
Jen and I
better get busy.
Feed off each other. Jen and I we talk the same, and so there's a lot of F-bombs. So the idea behind the episode, and what I think she did a great job helping us out with, is understanding how to make Valentine's Day special for our wives, right? It's the aspect from the middle-aged mom that we're all married to, right? And she does it in a humorous way, in a funny way, in a very honest way. And it's a fantastic interview. I listened to it again the other day, and I love it, and I love her and her books.
What do you think of it,
Mick? Not gonna disagree with anything Shannon said. It just, Jen's main point was that she kind of always kept circling back to was know your wife, know what she makes her tick, know what she wants, know what she would enjoy. Don't follow the tropes that are coming from Hallmark or.
Well, don't give away the whole episode, man.
Cut that.
No. Well,
listen and see what she says.
By now they have. I think one of the good points that she brought up was, and to Mick's point, that it's definitely, don't feel like it has to be roses or like the typical quote unquote, Valentine's Day gifts, chocolates and roses. I think my wife doesn't want chocolate and roses for Valentine's Day, and that's she had mentioned just doing something with their car, or in terms of like, she said detailing a car. I mean, she's already, by the time this comes out, she'll already said it. So I think that's a great gift, something that helps kind of clear their head is something like that. I mean, the clutter in our car drives Amanda nuts. And I think that that's one thing that would help, I think that's just important when it talks to getting back to knowing your wife and knowing what they want. And that's helpful. Sometimes you don't know what they want, and you kind of have to find that out. Exactly.
Well, listen to the episode. Go to Jen Mann. She'll let you know. She'll help you out. It's a really good episode. It's one of my favorites.
Okay, so I had another topic about Super Bowl, but we've kind of talked about that. But I added one on here after I sent you guys the format. I don't know if you saw it or not, but yesterday I was doing travel, because when I was talking about doing live events, I'm doing in March. I have like 3 events back to back, and I'm leaving for 15 days. I'm going to be on the road for 15 days straight, away from the family. So that is that's going to be a lot. That's definitely the longest I've ever been away from them. And I'm curious if you guys had any tips for something like that. And I don't know if any of you guys have ever spent that much time away from your family. I know we haven't since we've had kids that I can recall that we've spent that much time away from each other, or that much time away from your kids and just your family and the hustle and bustle of everyday life. And I don't know if you guys have what your guys' thoughts are on that. Or like, what do you think would be a good tip for somebody like myself that's getting ready to go through that in March?
This might be a good time to buy flowers and chocolate, Mike.
Look at him circling back around. Look at him do that. Oh, it's definitely going to be one of those times where it's just, I mean, in my own personal opinion, you're right. I mean, it's definitely, might need to be a gift involved there, but just keeping in constant communication with, don't go more than 24 hours without talking, for sure. I mean, FaceTiming is so great nowadays where you can still do that and, FaceTime back and forth and see your kids. And maybe they want to see like the hotel room that I'm staying in, which I've done that plenty of times, where they're just like, oh, where's the bathroom at in this hotel room? And, does it have a pool and that kind of stuff? And yeah.
Well, even more than that, I would add text messaging randomly. Like that's what I do that a lot with Vivian Wyatt now, of things that I just found funny, so your presence is not, stepdaddy's not coming in. You're still good. You know what I mean? But, the texting, just the normal everyday texting, I think that really
we definitely
works.
We text a lot more when I'm on the road, obviously, because it's just there's more. It's easier to text when I'm working than it is during in certain events than it is actually, FaceTiming, obviously. But if you get a moment to actually, have face-to-face communication, regardless of whether it's, face-to-face or on FaceTime, and that's where it's definitely better to see that. Plus, it helps me see home, and that's where, because I certainly miss it when I'm on the road. There's no doubt. I miss our usual meals that we have, and I'm eating out constantly, or having convention center food, which is not great most of the time. But It's definitely going to be a challenge, to say the least. And then on top of that, I'm meeting back up with him after from my last gig. I'm meeting up with him on spring break, and then we're traveling to the Smoky Mountains. I'm like meeting him in Nashville and then driving home. So on top of that, I'm going to be gone for 20 days. Like, I will not be sleeping in my bed for 20 days, which is unfathomable. But at least for those last 5 days, I'm going to be with the family and we're going to have fun. And that's what I'm looking forward to. That's going to be a lot of fun once we all get back together.
What you should do, Mike, is send a bunch of pictures of you standing lonely in the rain.
I actually have done that.
With like some
I've done that, but that was because
it.
I got caught walking to a bar and it poured down rain in the middle of Denver. And I was literally stuck like in between, like I was like in a vestibule or something like that, but the door was locked. So I was like kind of in this one area where there was no other place to do it. And it was just a freaking downpour. And I was kind of avoiding I was able to avoid the rain, but I was still getting like the rain was still blowing up on my face and I was just completely soaked. And so I said,
if you can find a street lamp with a solitary light and stand underneath that while looking up, that would be a good image.
And try to look as pathetic as possible, right? Okay, good.
Yeah, shoulder slump the whole thing.
Just do that everywhere you go. Sitting at dinner by yourself, a nice little sad photo.
Yeah, but then usually I send them the food that I'm eating, and then they're like, I don't like you very much. And the beer that I'm drinking.
You do that to us, too.
I do that to you guys. Yeah, I probably do that more to you guys than I do to my wife because I don't want to get in trouble.
Speaking of food, this is a practical thing, but maybe you could, since Amanda's going to be juggling everything all by herself, maybe you could try to stock the freezer with some pre-made meals that all she has to do is throw in the oven or throw in the crock pot. And then that's one less thing for her to have to worry about.
You know what? Even better. What if you guys did that?
You don't want to eat Shannon's cooking.
My cooking, no, wait a minute now. I'll take a lot of crap, but my cooking.
I don't know. You've never invited us over for dinner.
Out of the five of us, who's made beef Wellington before?
No, I cook well. You're damn right I have. With liver pate. The Julie Child's cookbook. It's right over there,
office,
man.
It's in the, what are you calling your office now?
No, Hobbit hole.
It's in the kitchen. Oh,
the Hobbit hole.
Lord of the Rings
Hobbit hole. I love it.
It is. It's the Hobbit hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing
There's
video.
The Hobbit hole. Oh, there's the maps.
That's the map that he was working on when we were up at the barn. He's got it all put together now.
That turned out great, man. Really good, man. That was your man weekend project.
Map of Middle Earth for my fellow nerds.
All right, we're going to move on here. So I'm going to do the housekeeping, and I have to find it. Oh, yeah, anyway. So if you're new to us, thanks so much for listening. We're damn glad you stopped by and checked out our little corner of the podcasting world. We are 5 at-home dads who have 16 kids, ranging all the way from 17, or is Adam 18 yet?
Not yet.
Not yet.
He's 10 days away.
Getting there.
10 days away.
Oh, my gosh, 10 days away. He's 10 days away from turning 18, and Ella is about 15 days away from turning 17, which is, and yes, and Vinny's that close too. We have a lot of kids that are right there. All three of the biggest ones are, wow.
Yep.
Holy cow. They're all right there. I keep forgetting that. Yeah. We have a lot of February birthdays. That is for sure. Anyway, so they range all the way from 9 all the way up to almost 18 years old now. Well, we've been hanging out together for at least 15 years and decided after all that time we wanted to tell our tips and whatnot. We wanted to start recording all of our nonsense and make it a podcast. And yes, if you can't tell, we live in the Kansas City area. And please, if you can, subscribe. Hey, give us a 5-star rating. Leave us a review if you're so inclined. Huge help to get us on that whole algorithm. Get us boosted up there and get Dadhouse in front of all those who are looking for great dad stories and comedy and advice. And please share. Hey, we'd love it. Like, rate, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. You want to get in contact with us? Maybe you've got a topic you want us to discuss? Hit us up. Email the dads at dadhousepod.com. That's THEDADS at dadhousepod.com. And hey, our socials, of course, if you found us there, we appreciate it. Give us a follow at Dadhouse Pod, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of fun stuff. So as we discussed on our previous episode when we were all together as a group, there is no chicken update because, Mick, there's still correct.
There is no chicken update. It's going to be a few months. We're going to get some new ones, and that'll be excitement. So we'll just stay tuned.
So how old would new ones be? Just
1 day old.
1 day old? Really? Wow.
Maybe 2.
Wow. I didn't know you got them as like chicks.
Yes, yeah.
And then you have them for how long?
Until I ship them off to the farm again.
until they stop producing on a regular basis, I guess.
They say that in captivity, but just in like a backyard type setting that chicks can live to be, or chickens can live to be, 7 years old, but their production is just not worth the feed bill. So.
Okay, cool. All right, so time for moving on to our DadCon Dadvice. This is where, so Mick, describe what you did with this. I know we've talked about this plenty of times, and then also introduce our clip here.
All right, so Dad Advice from DadCon is, as much as we have, great advice for everybody, which we do. When you go to the National Dad Convention, At Home Dad Convention, there's 100 plus other dads who got tips and tricks and other pieces of good advice. So today we're going to hear from David Schnitzler, who's father of a newborn and another newborn on the way. And he's going to, Mike introed it earlier. So just take a listen.
Hey there, my name is David Schnitzler. I am a father of a 14-month-old boy and another on the way. One of the things that I wish I had accepted sooner is you will get poop on you. The sooner you accept that you will get poop on yourself, on your kid, on every surface in your house, will be that much sooner that you're able to do diaper changes, more efficiently, and you'll get through it a lot easier. So just accept it up front, and you'll thank yourself for it later.
When he talks about that, you remember the Triumph, the insult dog? That's what I think of.
Yeah.
I will poop on you. He's right, but that's what I think of.
All I can think of is the children's book, Everybody Poops.
True.
Anybody got any good poop stories that they remember?
Well, Vivi painted the wall. I mean, we've all had that.
with said.
With poop. Hand in diaper, right out. Just Picasso. Poop Picasso, that's what I call it.
I can't believe you still have it up there. That's amazing.
I know. I framed it, and I put a glaze over it so it maintained.
Put a glaze over it.
You put the little placard down there, Vivi Carpenter.
Year and a half old, yeah.
Year and a half old with the date, interpretive dance moment or
pride dinner, corn.
Mixed media, corn, broccoli,
bit of prunes.
Mixed media. That's awesome.
I was going to say, Ash did that once when we were driving somewhere. He had a blowout and he decided to paint the car door. So
gross.
Mm-hmm.
I do remember Sam had a blowout that was so bad one time, and while he was like either after he napped or it was during the nap or something like that, but he made a mess of it. And I remember going into his room while he was asleep or to check on him, see if he was asleep. And I saw the mess, and I was able to, this is like one of my greatest triumphs as a young parent, was that I was able to change his diaper and clean him up while he was napping, and Nice. He did not wake up.
I
took a picture. I took a a before and an after photo, and I sent it to Amanda, and it was like, I can't believe I did this without waking him up. Apparently that must have really been exhausting for him.
Well, you had your parenting miracle. That's downhill from there.
Right. Yeah, it was. It pretty much was. Yeah. Oh man! So how many people like use that excuse on your kids? Their kids are complaining or something. You're just like, I used to clean your crap up, man. Literally, yeah. I used to clean your crap.
Yep.
Well, what's better is when
now you're giving me this crap
on other people's kids. Because there's been times when like Vivi will start getting lippy to me and start doing whatever, and I'm like, I've changed your diaper and given you a bath. Zip it. And then she gets this big look on her face. She's like, and backs away slowly.
I've done it to Adam in front of his girlfriend. I tried to do that. I did. Shut up, pee on the tire, buddy.
Mine.
Whose tire was it? I forgot.
It's Larry's tires.
Oh, not your own tires, Shannon? Come on.
Fuck no.
All right. Well, I think it's time to move on to our interview with Sam Mellinger. Hope you enjoy it. And here it is.
Rusty, come on up here. Oh, Russ. You know, I haven't had much of a chance to talk to you man to man, Russ.
Well, I've only been a man a few days, Dad.
Yeah.
All right, joining us now on the show is Sam Mellinger. His 21-year career as a journalist has ranged from high school sports to the World Series and the Super Bowl. He saw it all as a newspaper reporter and columnist for the Kansas City Star. In 2021, Sam made the big change, moving from outside of the Royals clubhouse to the inside for a job in media relations as vice president for the team he used to cover. He and his wife, Katie, live here in the Kansas City area and is a father of two boys, Sammy and JB. So please welcome into the Dadhouse, the vice president of communications for the Kansas City Royals, Sam Mellinger. Yay!
Yay! Thank you, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Well, thank you for coming.
Yeah.
So Sam, I have to put the talk about the elephant in the room right now is that I actually work on the Crown Vision crew.
Nice.
So I'm one of Stephen Funky's guys also, and and Zach Weaver as well.
Okay.
So
beautiful.
I've been there since 2009.
Okay.
So I've seen you off and on quite a bit, and so I guess my first question is, so what's your kid's favorite part of the game day experience, and why is it Crown Vision?
Yeah. That's perfect. That's perfect. I think it's because the people. Yeah, I think it's because the people running Crown Vision are so brilliant and advanced. That's they talk about that all the time. And now, it's been. Our kids are very different. Like I know a lot of people say that, right? But our kids like basically have nothing in common other than Legos. One of them, our third grader, Sammy, is just obsessed with baseball, and he'll go and absorb all the information and why did he throw that curveball there? Like, I mean, he's out there. And then JB he's in it for the popcorn, man. Yeah. That is pretty much what he's in it for.
The popcorn and the merry-go-round.
Exactly. It is hard balancing, your likes with your kids, because my wife and I, we really enjoy, going out to, the stadium and watching the games, and our kids not so much. And so when they were little, before we could just kind of leave them, my two oldest are teenagers now, so they can, babysit each other and the little one. But you're absolutely right. When can we get popcorn? Well, you got to wait till the third inning at least before we get up. And then it became, can we take a book?
Wow.
And it's like, well,
yeah.
Let me think on that, because you want them to go and be part of the experience, but at the same time, you want them to not hate it and just
totally.
So it's like everything else. It is a balance.
Yeah. You want them to, you want everybody to kind of have some stuff that we can all do together, right? You know what we did toward the end of last season? I think we only did it one game. Katie and the kids came, and so I went down and sat with them for a while, for 3 innings or whatever. And JB wanted to go. And again, like you just said, Mick, like you don't want to hold them captive, right? You know what, Kate? Like, take JB home, Sammy wants to stay. He wants to see the end of the game. And then there was like the drone show. It was one of the drone shows.
Oh yeah.
And he really, really wanted to see the drone show. So, okay. Bud, can you wait? I got to work after the game. Can you wait by yourself for this long? He's like, yes, I want to do it. And so told one of the ushers, Carol, who's amazing. And she, okay, yeah. And he did. Like, I just went down, did my stuff after the game, and then came back up, and he was right there, and we went home. And so that was something that maybe we can do a little bit more this year to kind of, make sure everybody's getting what they want.
How far do you live from the stadium?
20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, depending on traffic. Yeah.
How's that for a story as a kid, though? You're like, no, I was babysat by the Royals, by the Major League Baseball team.
Yeah. One thing I've got to do this year, if we do that again, is I've got to get him to just be able to go up to the press box by himself. And I think he can do that. We get him a little name tag, and he can go on the elevator and say, 6, please, and all that. But yeah, you do wonder, like, I think we all want our kids to have better childhoods, better experiences than we had. And I did not come from a hard scrabble upbringing at all, but there are some things where you're kind of like, I hope he's appreciating this, for sure. And that's certainly one of them, being able to go to like any baseball game that he wants, and some Chiefs games and stuff like that. But yeah, it's fun.
So that kind of leads me into a question. I mean, you covered all of Kansas City sports, basketball, football, collegiate, professional, what is it like when kids do get the opportunity to go behind the scenes? How do you have to build that up to them, or in some cases, maybe temper it down?
So it's two very different answers based on the two jobs I've had. Like at the Star, and this is just reality of journalism. Like there wasn't much, if anything, that I could get for them. Just because, you can't bring your kid up to the press box, like you can't take them sort of behind the ropes or whatever. It's, journalism's different. It's objective, all those things. So that was actually kind of a frustration. I mean, like I could, the last few years, JB just this past fall, but Sammy for the last maybe 2, 3, 4 years has been super into football and baseball. And so they'd have questions, like, what's Andy Reid like, or whatever. And, maybe you have some insight that you don't if you had like a real job, but now it is different. The one drawback that I really saw when I was thinking about making the switch was it's more time away. It just is. And that's the most important thing to me, right? Is Katie and the kids. But one thing that I started to realize that they're exactly those experiences that you're talking about now that exist now that didn't in the old job. And the Royals are, like a lot of businesses, very aware of the demands of the job and very family focused, and they want you to feel supported, that, all these things. So, part of the deal with the job, like, we'll fly your family down for spring break to go to spring training. And spring training is so open. I'm not sure that there's a lot of things that they get that just a family that is going down there to visit wouldn't. But I will tell you one story. This happened last fall. So Katie went to Michigan State. She's got a lot of family up there. Her and the kids came one of the trips that we went to Detroit. And, so you could see her friends and family, and I could, we all hung out. She stayed at the hotel, all that stuff. There was a game where Katie and some college friends and her aunt and uncle, there's about 10 of them total, were going to come to BP. They're going to come to the game early, be on the field during BP, that kind of thing. Last second, they were at the bar. So they decided they would rather be at the bar and just go to the game for first pitch. I mentioned Sammy's interest in baseball. He really wanted to go see BP. Like, he really wanted that's the thing that he was looking forward to the most. So they were only a block away. Katie walks Sammy down, and he just comes into the stadium with me. And so now it's, maybe 3:00 or something. The game starts at 7. We got 4 hours. I've got a job to do, but I've also got a son now in the clubhouse. So we walk through, cleared it with people before, but we walk through. And, the first person that he sees when we walk through is Salvador Perez, who is probably the biggest human being that Sammy has ever seen in person, you know. And Salvi comes up and gets this like scowl on his face. He's like, "Are you supposed to be here, amigo?" And Sammy's like stunned, and he like checks his little, they gave him a like a pass or whatever, and he goes, "Oh, okay, you good, give me some," and like just starts to mess with him a little bit and say, and then next, like Bobby Witt Jr. comes by and he's like, "Oh, what's up, little man?" And they start talking, and he goes, "Oh, that's cool. You like baseball? Yeah. What position you play?" He's like, catcher and outfield, whatever. And Bobby's like, "Who's your favorite player?" And Sammy's just like, "You." It's like this weird.
Who hadn't even had an at bat for the Royals at the time, right?
Yeah,
an official at bat.
And we went out to the field, because there's like pregame stuff, and like Matheny's doing his pregame interviews or whatever, and Sammy's just sitting right next to him, and Mike like turns, "What do you think about this one, Sammy?" And then he goes and plays catch with Pedro Grifal. Like it was just like it's like this amazing, like I'll never forget that day. Like, and I think he won't ever forget that. And that was kind of the one that jumps out when you're like kind of getting behind the ropes a little bit. Katie and JB, they're good, but Sammy's like really, really into that kind of thing, which is a very awesome thing from my point of view. It kind of makes you think you did the right thing,
As a father, because I know I had a real special bonding experience with my son in 2015 when we won the World Series.
Yeah.
And he was, let's see, he's 14 now. So he was like 9. I think he was 9 at the time. Are you looking forward to hopefully having a moment like that with your kids as well? I mean, just to celebrate something like that, go to the championship, go to the parade and everything like that. And it's definitely one thing to do it as a fan with the Chiefs and whatnot, but to be part of the organization, to be that close to the organization, moving forward, hopefully to get that chance to really experience that.
There's no doubt. Yeah. Sammy was at the parade in 15. Mm-hmm. He was about a year and a half, so he doesn't really remember it, but there's this picture we have in his room. He's on my shoulders and Katie's right there. But obviously doesn't remember that himself. We did the Chiefs parade. He remembers that one a little bit. And it's funny you bring, because like I keep telling him, and they're both so into football now, and I just keep telling you guys, like, this isn't normal, what the Chiefs are doing. Like
what Patrick Mahomes is doing.
Yeah. Like when I was a kid, the Chiefs quarterback was known for like being good at play action. Steve DeBerg, he could like, bring the ball back in. Like that's what I grew up with. Just be sure you enjoy this. But to your point about the Royals, yeah, there's no question. I mean, I think about that a lot, and it would be, even more special to feel a part of it. And I think they would feel a part of it. And they'll get to know some of these people, they already do, but, now we have a, largely new coaching staff. As it happens, our new manager has kids about the same age as Sammy and JB. So, they'll get together. We're actually going to get together this weekend, I think. I loved the Star. I loved working there, and I believe in journalism and all those things, but it's hard getting your kids into work when you work at a newspaper. It's different than when you work at a Major League Baseball team. There's no doubt.
But I'm sure they don't really want to come into the newspaper. They want to go to the sporting events with you.
I don't think they ever set foot in the Star's office. Yeah. And to be fair, I didn't go into the office all that much either.
Well, that's true.
If my old boss was here, he would point that out right now. So I'll just get out in front of that.
So the follow-up to the positive stuff that you're blessed to be able to share with your kids, just based on what you've seen over the years, how do you think the balance will come, or that you've seen other people in your profession do when their kids start saying, "Oh, this guy is great and he's my hero," but you've seen maybe through like an interview or just through locker room behavior, maybe the guy is just a real jerk. How do you envision yourself, being able to communicate that balance to your kids and stuff?
Yeah, I'd be curious if you guys have advice on this one too. JB's still pretty young. Sammy's kind of getting into that part, right? Like he'll be 9 next month. and he's aware of different things. I think ideally, like the target that you shoot for, and you're going to miss by a little bit, right? Hopefully not by a lot, but one of the I believe in all the maybe corny parts about sports. I believe in the lessons that it teaches us. I believe in the relationships, the memories, and everything else that it builds. I believe that you can teach some things here. So ideally, this is what I'm shooting for. One, hopefully sports can help teach our kids the value of work, the value of practice. Like this is a small thing, but again, Sammy's really into baseball. He's like for 8, right? Like I'm not at all saying he's anything, but a pretty good hitter. Defensively, we got some Billy Butler vibes, like
Billy Butler third vibes
on our hands. And but this winter, like we've just been doing a little bit of baseball stuff, and he's like, working on short hops and like stuff like that. And he's like, and again, small thing, but like you are so much better now than you were. That's because you practice. The same thing applies with math. The same thing applies with reading. That's the connection that I want them to see. I also think that. I guess to answer your question, Mick, like, I guess I'll hopefully, for the most part, reject the idea that these guys are all heroes. And, it's just like any office, right? Like some of them, we all make mistakes, and that's not, athletes aren't better than us and they're not worse than us. And I think that they've worked incredibly hard and they have just world-class skill. But that doesn't mean that they don't lose their temper sometimes, that doesn't mean that they don't make mistakes. So it's kind of like cuss words. Like, sometimes on, you play a song on Spotify or whatever, and whoops, didn't get the clean version on that one. And, and we just say like, that's okay. Just, this is a song. And just because they use that word, that doesn't mean that we have to, that makes it sound like I never cuss. Can I take like a little tangent?
Yeah. Sure.
We're all
this
about
was
it.
like a year or two ago, and the kids did something, and I forgot what it was. It doesn't matter, and it just you get that you just get angry, and I thought I handled it the right way, guys. Like I thought I just swallowed it, and like let's talk about this in a little bit when I've calmed down. I would have sworn, I would have hand on the Bible, I would have told you that's what I did. I really thought that, but I know I didn't. Because as I walked away, Sammy goes, "No, you're a goddamn it." Like, okay. Right,
Sam, just so you know, there is a real possibility that I've taught all 16 kids how to cuss.
Yes, we have 16 kids total between all 5. We're missing one of our dads, but yeah, we have 16 kids between the 5 of us.
That's a lot.
Yeah, like even Luke, Mick's kid, like, is a great kid, but I'm pretty sure I've taught him how to drop the F-bomb, Mick.
Good for you. They're all going to learn.
Yep, he has.
Yeah, he's my boy.
But they all admit that they all learned it from Shannon.
Yeah, and I'm proud of. They're going to need that when they're adults. Swearing as an adult to get your point across.
There's no doubt.
Unless you're in media relations like Sam, and you're not allowed to swear on camera. So
on camera, yeah.
Yes. With the whole role model thing, that's a very tough question to answer either which way, because there's a moment when your kids see their hero and realize that they're a person now, an imperfect person, and it's that place where the fantasy kind of cracks a little bit, which I think is a good thing as they grow, right?
It is.
And in our house, we've had this debate: do you separate the art from the artist? Right? That's a really hard debate to have. The art may be really good no matter what it is or the thing, but as a person, he might be a jackhole, It's a good and worthwhile conversation to have. I mean, that's how we've approached it. Once they realize that this person is not, a saint, for lack of a better word, and has issues, that is a life skill within itself. That's how we've done it.
Yeah. No,
And
that's
swearing.
important. Yeah, and it's all complicated, right? But then that specific part is complicated by the fact that you want to be the role model for your kids, and you and your wife, you want to be the role models, but you also know that you're flawed and everything. I mean, it's just it's hard. You never want to be like do as I say, not as I do. And, you want to set the right example when you can. So I'll tell you that, like, this is a story that's coming to mind. This happened just last week, which is why it's on my mind. Not proud of this, but I came home and they were doing something and I made an assumption and I just got pissed right away. I just got pissed and I yelled and then quickly realized that I was wrong, that what they were doing was not, I just had it wrong. And so I just like, gosh, okay. And guys, I'm sorry. Like, you didn't deserve that. I made a mistake. I'm not proud of that. I wish I didn't do it, but this is, so I'm sorry. You guys didn't, and they're like, okay. And they move on. And so this was last week, and my wife happened to be, maybe this is details, maybe this is TMI. Katie had COVID last week. We were all fine. It's the weirdest thing, right? She was sick and kind of isolated, and me and the kids were fine. So anyway, my point is they were sleeping in a bunk bed. Usually they're in separate rooms, but they were in the bunk bed that night. Next morning, Sammy says, Daddy, last night, JB said something and I called him a dum-dum. And I said, like a couple little things like that. And then I realized that wasn't the right way to do it. And so I apologized to him and I said, I'm sorry, you didn't deserve that. And I was like, oh my God. I was like, this is a little version of me, but like, actually took it as a proud moment, right?
Absolutely. Like, you should.
That's a win.
And that's the kind, I guess that's a very winding road here, but I hope that, if you can sort of like stop even pretending that you or anybody else is perfect, I think it's like an opportunity to grow. And we all have these flaws and we all make mistakes, and it's just how you grow from them from there. I think that's the way that makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. And you saw that growth that your son just did there. It was just like, I did, something I've done is now it hit the right note with him.
Yeah, you wish that it didn't start with you screaming at him unnecessarily, right?
True.
But yeah, you take the wins where you can get them, right?
Even more so when they're teenagers, to like see that modeling, and that when you correct them, they don't get that, oh, you're just being holier than thou, kind of thing. They see you screw up, and the teenagers will call you even more on it.
Oh, I have no doubt about that.
I was just had this thought of like, well, how many athletes have actually said something to you after they'd read something in the paper that you'd written as a columnist, and then
what I found with that is I never had huge problems. There was probably a couple that I can think of that at some point the relationship was just dead. It's just not going to work. But 99% of the time, I felt like as long as you don't get personal, as long as you don't take cheap shots, and maybe that's a blurry line, but for me it was, you could say that was a bad play, but don't say that's a bad person. You can say that was the wrong decision, but don't say that that's a stupid person. And I violated that, I'm sure, at times. But there's a lot of like, it's kind of ironic, right? But the person that I might have had more sort of angry or like, screaming and or very intense disagreements, more than anybody else that I covered in that old job, is Dayton Moore.
I honestly was thinking that might be who you were gonna say, just from having read your stuff for so many years. Because you were always, one of the best things about your writing is you did not get personal, but yet you laid facts out, just in a very eloquent way. And let's be honest, over his tenure, there was oftentimes a lot of facts that could have been laid out, in a very specific way. So it doesn't surprise me that that's the name you threw out there. Yeah.
That's cool of you to say, because that was always kind of the goal. But the reason I brought that up is one of the many things that I really, really respect about Dayton is, we'd have that talk, and it's, and sometimes at the end of this talk, like, I'd see that he was right, I was wrong. Sometimes at the end of that talk, I'd be even more convinced that I was right and he was wrong. And sometimes it's just, we got to move our separate ways or whatever. But every single time, like at the end of it, there'd just be this 3-second pause of silence and go, all right, you need anything from me? What else is going on? How's Katie? Like it was just, you could move on professionally. And I think Dayton is one of one. If you're not afraid of those conflicts, if you're not, you can disagree with somebody, you can have an intense disagreement with somebody without that ruining the relationship. And I think 9 times out of 10, it actually strengthens it, and you move forward in a better way.
Has there been any fatherly advice?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Shannon.
Well, I was just wondering if Sam could follow around Mike during the day and give you a box score write-up on your parenting the same way. It's a bad decision by Michael Bowling.
Because a lot of times I'll direct there in Crown Vision, so I'll just be down there. I'll just need I need the official score sitting next to me there while I'm directing.
But there's even an appeals process there too from the official
right. Yes,
score.
that's a good point.
It doesn't end right there, right? Yeah.
Yeah, my kids are all about the appeals process. That's for damn sure.
Fair, yeah.
Well, I've got one other question before we, we've got a little quiz that we're going to have you take here at the end before we wrap it up. But who, and it can be, in the past, or it can be, somebody that's current. But who was, who's like your most pleasant surprise from the persona that you see on TV or media, whatever the format, versus like the real life? I mean, who is just maybe like the most underrated person that you've ever come across, and maybe they look like a grump on the field, but they're just like vivacious.
Gosh, that's a good question. I'm trying to think of my favorite people that I covered for some period of time. I don't think people would be surprised necessarily, but Tyrann Mathieu was one of my favorite people to talk to. I just found that guy to be so real and honest and self-aware. He would criticize himself in ways that were not false humility, but were just real. Like, I got to work on this kind of thing, personal and professional. I don't know. He's the first one that comes to my mind, but you know what? Like, I don't know if this is a sore subject right now. I thought Mike Matheny probably is as different when you know him personally, versus the sort of projection or whatever in interviews. I think he's a very serious person in interviews. He's very intense. And he's a serious and intense person as well, but he's got like a side to him that is really like sweet. And I don't know that a lot of people would guess that, just based on how he is in interviews. Those are the first two that are coming to mind right now. Andy Reid is freaking hilarious. If you get him, if he knows he's not being quoted and there's not a microphone or camera or whatever, that guy is unbelievably funny. He'll bring it out once in a blue moon in an interview, and it's usually like a joke about cheeseburgers. Is how it usually goes. But he is a really funny guy.
I can see that. Just his latest commercial, his facial expression, is hilarious.
Yeah, they did a good job with that for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was there any athlete or coach? Did they give you any fatherly advice when they found out you become a father?
Yeah, I actually think about this one a lot, and we've mentioned this a little bit already. But so in 2013, when Alex Smith came, that was his first season as quarterback of the Chiefs, and ended up, as part of the job, having dinner with him one night, and it was like a 3-hour dinner. We talked about everything, and Katie was pregnant. Sammy was born, like maybe 5 or 6 months after this dinner. And with our first, and I did ask him because he at the time, he had young kids, and I just think Alex Smith to me is just like we talked a little bit earlier about how you don't really know these people, right? Alex Smith is my perception, and maybe it's wrong. He's as good of a human being, I think, that as I've met professionally. I just think that guy is just different, and how do you do it? How do you, you got a busy job and like, what's important and what's not. And he just said, look, people are going to tell you a million different things. But just always remember that if you open the door for somebody, they're going to notice that. If you're rude to the waiter, they're going to notice that. If everything, good and bad, just be the human that you want them to be. And that's going to be more important than anything that you say to them. And I've always had that in my mind. I know we talked about this earlier, right? Like there are flaws, but to me, I think you want to show them flaws, and more important, well, when you show them that flaw, you got to show how you deal with it, right? Like, because we've got two very different kids. One of them is a little uptight, and mistakes fluster him. One of them is just as carefree as it goes. And so you've got two very different personalities, but you're trying to show them both. Like sometimes that carefree, you can screw up and not realize something, and you gotta course correct. And sometimes the uptight, you gotta give yourself a break. So Alex Smith gave me a piece of advice. It's actually that, and then somebody else said, this wasn't an athlete or coach, but enjoy changing dirty diapers. And and they don't mean like literally, right? But what they mean is like embrace, raising a kid. There's going to be great moments. There's going to be terrible moments. And you got to understand that it's all part of, you can't have one without the other. And so when there's a dirty diaper, and then when they get a little bit older, when they scream at you or, whatever, try to enjoy those moments as best you can, because that's all part of the process that you never get back. And I just always think about, when these kids are graduating high school or college or get married and those things, and it's just like, oh, fuck it. Like they're gone, I don't, that's over, so enjoy every moment. That's another one.
My oldest is a junior in high school, and I'm just like, oh man, only got like 1.5, or, like one full Christmas now left with her at home.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
Just like, oh
yeah.
Anyway, on that note,
no, that was a great way to wrap it up. So yeah.
Sam, do you have time for five quickies?
Of course. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right, Shannon, it's all you, baby.
All right, Sam, this is what we call our Dadhouse 5. We're going to check your dadness. You ready?
Okay, check my dadness. All right.
We're going to check your dadness, brother man. All right, question number 1. And we're going to switch it up for baseball.
Okay.
How many pockets should cargo pants have?
I don't know if I'm losing dad points here, but I actually don't have any more cargo pants in my possession. I think that was
you have cargo shorts.
I do have cargo shorts.
Answer for cargo shorts.
There we go. That works.
I'm trying to think. So you're counting like the normal pockets, right? Like a regular pair of jeans has 4.
Anything you can put stuff in.
So I think a cargo shorts should have, I'm going to say 2 additional pockets. So 6 total.
6 is a pretty good answer.
That works.
Yeah, there's no right answer. Everyone's got a different opinion. So that works.
I personally think it's 6.
Okay, good.
The average is 6.
Okay.
All right, question number 2. What is man glitter?
Oh gosh, I don't know. What is man glitter? I'm stumped.
I'm going to change it for baseball. I'm going to say it's pine tar for baseball. Or
but
I see what you're saying now. Okay.
Or sawdust. That's what we do.
Sawdust. Sawdust is the right answer. Yes.
Sawdust is the right answer.
I was going to think of something. I would have had an answer that would have been like just not as good as sawdust. So we'll go with sawdust.
All right. Question 3. Big dad question here. What is your ideal type of water heater?
Guys, you're going to kick me off the show because I'm trying to think for sure. We've got gas. Is it gas?
Well, it's your answer, so yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like, as you can probably tell, I'm feeling like you guys have the right answers, and I'm just trying to like get on your level.
If it makes you feel better, there are no right answers, right?
Okay. Yeah, we have a
at base a working one is the right answer.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that's right. We're in like 100-some-year-old house, and the water heater, it's kind of like we're actually going back and forth. We can get a bigger one, which we probably need, especially as the kids start to take long showers and stuff. But there's a way that you have to do it because we don't have a lot of space, and it would be like against code. I hope the authorities aren't listening to this. We kind of go back and forth like, should we break code on this one thing?
Oh, we're big with the authorities, let me tell you.
Yeah, we got you. We'll take this care of it. Okay. All right, next question. In an imaginary tea party, who served first?
He doesn't have any girls, so this might be interesting.
Yeah, who's at the tea party?
Sammy. Andy Reid, your kids. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, women go first. If you didn't mention any women, so then I would say kids go first after that. Like women and children, right? Isn't that how they?
I think so. And then definitely Andy Reid.
In a burning, yeah. I don't know if Andy's a big tea guy though.
We'll get him a cheeseburger. It's
maybe tea was code for something. I don't think.
No, it's tea.
Okay. Yeah, cheeseburger flavored tea. That's what we'll do.
There we go.
Oh, I love it. That's great.
All right, the last question we got for you. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?
Oh gosh. I don't know. Is this like a movie quote that I'm not in on?
It is. You know what? That is the right answer. Give it to him, Mick.
African or European?
It's from Monty Python.
Okay, yeah. My sweet spot is more like Billy Madison, Happy Gilmore, Dumb and Dumber. That's actually like, do you guys have like, are you in the? You guys are probably past this point. It sounds like most of your kids are a little bit older, but we're trying to like introduce the movies that we liked as kids.
No, we're right there with
great.
you. Yeah. We all have a second generation that is right the same age as yours.
Beauty,
yeah. They're all 8 and 9.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller was like just an incredible hit, and then there was another one. We did one that was like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was a huge flop.
Mine liked that. Yeah. Mine loved Happy Gilmore when we brought that one out.
Yeah, that's a great one.
They liked that one.
It hurt me when I showed my oldest Men in Black, the first one, and he told me that the special effects were awful, and it just took him out of the movie. I was like,
"That's a deep cut."
It's like, that hurt me. You hurt me.
That's a deep cut because that's
personal
like very,
level.
You're old. Kind of thing too.
The bad thing about introducing your kids to the movies, that you remember, that you grew up with, sometimes you don't remember them the same way. My wife was like, "Oh yeah, she's got this list," and she's like, "Oh, let's watch Vacation," and I'm like, okay. I remember a couple. She's like, "Oh, it's fine. They gotta be exposed anyway." And then as we're going through some of the different scenes on that, she's like, "Okay, yeah, now I know what you meant."
Oh, even like we did Turner and Hooch a while back. Tom Hanks spends a lot of time in his underwear in that movie. Yeah. I did not remember that. It was a shockingly large percentage of that movie.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up underwear because my favorite movie of all time, if it's not Dumb and Dumber, is Back to the Future. And I desperately want to show the kids that, except for Jake, now you're making me realize that they're going to be like, these special effects suck. That's probably what they're going to say. But the other thing is there's that scene where his mom is hitting on him.
Yeah,
which is that's the part that I always think about. Is there a way to skip that scene in the movie, or do I?
That's kind of pivotal to the story there in that one.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah. So how hard do you want the Royals to score the Field of Dreams game?
I expect us to have it at some point. Yes, I think that would be so much fun. And there's actually is this literally inside baseball? When you go through the schedule, we have these meetings, and we just had one, if you can believe it, for the 2024 season. Anyway, there's these special events games, right? There's Field of Dreams. There's they've got some wild ideas. There's an Alaska one.
Oh my gosh!
There's London. I mean, there's I think who's playing? Is it Yankees and Red Sox? I think are playing in Europe somewhere this year, I think. So anyway, yeah, that is one that we've requested. I also think it'd be cool. Shouldn't the Royals play in London? Doesn't that make sense?
Oh yeah, exactly.
On a lot of levels. So yeah, I'd love to do stuff like that for sure.
Field of Dreams would be fantastic for us because what was it, 7-8 years ago? We actually, so every summer we do a dad's trip and we drive around the Midwest, with the kids. It's just the dads and the kids. And we drive around and we just see everything, the crazy, the you name it.
Yeah.
Well, what was it? 7 years ago, 8 years ago? I can't.
It was close to 10, you old man.
No, because the kids, Kate watched us play in her stroller. Yeah, she sat in her stroller.
And how old is Kate?
Yeah, 9. So that's why I said it was
10 years ago.
Well, I've said 7 or 8. Okay, what doesn't matter?
We're getting in the
we
weeds.
went to the fields. We went to the Field of Dreams. We played baseball with nuns and our kids at the same time.
Yeah, we did.
That's incredible.
So we would love to go back and watch the Royals if they ever get that. That would be so awesome.
Was it like an amusement? Like, I don't know. How did that work? Do you have to pay when you
No,
go in?
it's everything you
go
want
on
it to
the
be.
field for-
No,
back then, and
show
of course,
up.
I don't know how it's changed. I mean, the new stadium there obviously wasn't there. In fact, it was still all cornfield, and they had like a little stand there for souvenirs. That was basically it.
And that was it.
Wow, that's
that was
cool.
it. That was so cool.
That was
so.
I wonder how
cool.
different it is now. You're right, because
I bet you it's not different at all. No, I bet you it's not different at all. It is totally they believed in the experience, right? You go out there with a bucket of balls and you play baseball. It's the most pure thing we've ever done.
Oh hell yeah,
it really
that's
is.
awesome.
Sitting in the stands and it was cool. And getting a picture of the kids like walking out of the corn too, because it was July when we were there. So yeah, corn was pretty dang high.
Yeah. There's something, I mean, like that corniness about, no pun intended, but just that corniness that baseball has is like such an endearing, like I heard somebody say it's the most charming sport we have. And that comes with some challenges, right? Like I think sometimes baseball can be a little bit slow to change and adapt, but it just like when you get it, like you'll never not get it, it is like with that stuff. And I just, that's a really cool. Like I'm like literally like in some chills right now thinking about doing that with our kids someday.
Do it. Totally worth it, man.
It was amazing.
Yep.
It was amazing for sure.
Yeah.
Well, Sam, thank you so much, man. We really, really appreciate it. You had a lot of great insight on a lot of topics, man. We really appreciate it.
No, this is cool for you to to invite me. I enjoyed getting to know you guys and the conversation for sure.
Yeah, so I'm sure I'll be seeing you up on 6 then.
Hell yeah.
It's almost first pitch here soon. All right, Sam. Thank you very much, man.
Okay,
yes,
guys.
thanks, Sam. Appreciate it.
All right, good to meet you guys.
Well, I better get a move on if I want to get us out of here by dark.
All right.
Good talk, son.
Talk, Dad.
All right, thank you so much to Sam Mellinger. We really appreciate it. It was a fun conversation. Mick and I ended up actually talking to him for like another 30 minutes after the episode was over. So we appreciate Sam spending a little extra time with the baseball nerds on this podcast. So be sure to listen to our Valentine's Day episode if you haven't already with Jen Mann. That was a lot of fun for those guys to record. And remember, keep digging, Dad. Thank you guys so much for listening. Rate, subscribe, review, all that kind of fun stuff at Dadhouse Pod. Thank you guys so much for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Later.
You guys gonna make it all 220?
Yeah, 220, 221, whatever it takes.